Chapter 6 War Room. It was a cold winter day as Poxer was in her cell in Amazonia when the warden summoned her to her visitor's office, with armed guards watching her every step. Then Poxer had trudged through the snow into the visitor's office and had her restraints removed the moment she was chained to her seat. Then a Celanese lawyer sat down across from the table with her case files and said, "You've got to be the dumbest client I've ever had to defend in the royal court. You could have had the royal guards arrest the man who shot you and had him sentenced to hang for threatening the life of the queen. But because of your emotional outbursts, it got ruled self-defense. And now the entire world knows it." Poxer then crossed her arms while looking at the lawyer in the eye. "I thought you were here to take up my case, not to berate me with things I already know." "Then you're lucky that some people still think you're worth defending, because as far as I see it, the evidence speaks for itself. You may as well just plead guilty to lower charges instead of going to trial and convicting yourself of attempted first-degree murder, and be sentenced to hang as a disgrace to the royal family. Then maybe instead of hang, you'll just end up in an exile on a solitary island and stripped of your royal title." "Then why not just execute me now for what I've done if society deems me irredeemable?" "That's not for me to decide. If this goes to trial, it will be a jury of your peers with 2 representatives from each province that will decide your fate. I'm simply here to help you stay safe from their condemnation." Poxer's attorney then packed up the case files and began the process of discovery. Meanwhile, Poxer opened her mail from the House of Lunsaro, and the letter read, "To the true martyr queen and not the impostor Artemis. Your relatives have understood your predicament and are willing to help you in any way we can. We have already sent an independent bounty hunter for your assailant's capture. The royal guard and military have proved themselves to be unreliable for our purposes under Umbriel's command, and seem to be too concerned with politics to be occupied with protecting Luna's vessel. Furthermore, we will no longer be following Queen Artemis's, who now calls herself Ariana, orders. She has denied the Vertok faith and is therefore a public enemy that has infiltrated the highest authority within our queendom, and is actively subverting the systems instituted by the goddesses themselves. To make matters worse, this Ariana is gaining public support for her apostasy, and as the mandate of Luna states, all apostates must be put to death. As for Ariana, if she does not recant her Christianity and step down from her stolen authority, she will be made a public example of, regardless of the consequences for the citizenry, as they are merely tools to be used when needed. And then we will reseat you to your rightful throne until a new heir can be found. Concerning your assailant during the coronation festival, and her killer of 5 members of our noble house, and blaspheming the high priestesses, and shooting her rather than accepting his rightful death, we have captured his wife and will use her as bait until he comes to us unarmed. But because his wife is not a Zolshuren, nor a man, she will be treated fairly according to our customs and be set free immediately after Jeremiah McCree Johnson has faced judgment and been sentenced to meet his fate. And afterwards, we'll make sure Euphrasia, Amazonia, and Caroline pay for their rejection of the goddesses and those who have the divine right to rule over them. House of Lunsaro." While in the war room, General Emilio of Ferrum was overseeing the reports from spies within the U.S. government in order to plan his next action. Then, after giving it some thought, he looked into information regarding the USS Glass Cannon and its mothballed whereabouts. Darius then asked Emilio, "So what is the plan to invade Earth and conquer the Americans?" "For starters, invasion is a beyond stupid idea. I have attempted to invade one of their colonies under Azrael's command by force, and it ended in the worst defeat the Void Kingdom has ever seen. And that colony was hardly defended. Therefore, an invasion of Earth is going to be even worse, with Earth being far more defended than that single colony. Then how are we supposed to conquer the Americans to gain Azrael's favor and then betray him? We're not going to. If you think that bastard has any sense of honor or moral compass, you're wrong. You can never appease evil men, only kill them. Think of Empress Diana of the Third Luna Empire. Do you think that evil witch would have ever honored the peace agreement to end the war to end all wars, after all the other treaties she broke? Don't be so naive. Azrael is no different. He will dispose of you the moment you no longer convenience him, like he did to me and my own people." Then what is the point of this endeavor if Azrael already holds all the cards? The point is that Azrael doesn't have all the cards, and we have cards of our own. And given that your Valkyries are far better trained and equipped than the conscripts I was given, we might actually have a chance at pulling this off. You can lend me enough Valkyries to capture that mothballed USS glass cannon and a few decommissioned Andrew Jackson-class dreadnoughts. We have enough firepower to overwhelm all of King Azrael's entire space force and dominate him from above. And after killing Azrael from orbit, you'll use your royal influence to take his place and disband his empire, ending his evil reign. And from thenceforth, we will go our separate ways and rebuild a better future with Azrael, in hopes that another Azrael can never rise again within our lifetime. Then there's one last thing I need to do before taking King Azrael's place. Crown Princess Titania. Did you know this? Reference to Roman history in pre-Christian philosophies. The attitude of the Selenese nobility, although it may seem comically cliché for Christian fiction, it's actually based on real pagan philosophies of pre-Christian Rome and other pagan societies. For historical context, one of the biggest upsets the Christians had with the Roman emperors and the pagan rulers was abolishing the idea that the emperor was divine, hence Christians were considered traitorous or treasonous for not going along with what was essentially the emperor's power fantasy. It was also quite common in many pagan societies that everyone but the aristocracy and royalty were treated as expendable, which changed when Christianity took over the Roman Empire. As such, many ideas such as equality of dignity and the government serving the common good of the people were not ideas that spawned from the Enlightenment movements of the 17th and 18th century, but have their origin in the New and Old Testament. So, although the idea of divine right of kings may seem like it has its origin in medieval Christendom, it is actually a perversion of Christian ideals and is more pagan than it is Christian. It may even be akin to the Manichaean heresy, which believed in double predestination of the elect and non-elect, with the elect having the right to exploit those who were not of the elect.